Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are the group 1. We are going to start about our debate material is traditional classroom is the best choice. Let's start begin with the first section from pro group to Febi Febrina. Time is yours.
Thank you. I'm going to give my opinion. I'm totally agree with this statement because there are many benefits if we do traditional classroom. First, if we learn traditional classroom, that means we face to face with the teacher or the lecturer, right? Here the reasons. When the teacher explains about the material, some students don't understand about the material, so they can ask directly to the teacher to re-explain. Second, traditional classroom make the student more focused to listen what the teacher said. If they do online learning, they less of focus to listen what the teacher said. As you know, if we do online learning, we use smartphone or laptop. There are many distractions from the thing like Instagram, YouTube, games, and anything. Sometimes they open the application during the class. Because of that, they don't understand about the material and get bad scores. Thank you. Next to Titin.
Okay, I'm as contra group. I will give my response about your Febi statement. You may be right about in this classroom we face so with our teachers. That means we can ask them about the material that we don't understand directly. But you must remember about in a traditional classroom, every subject has limited. Sometimes the teachers has no enough time to re-explain about the material, or in other case, the students are not prefer to ask the material to their tutor because the tutor is unfriendly one. That's always happening in traditional classroom. Okay, for the second statement. I disagree entirely because if the tutor have the student to join into the online classroom strictly, the teacher could have authority to watch on their students' activity. So in my opinion, the traditional classroom is not really effective recently. Besides, it needs more money, more cost, and also extra time. The traditional classroom is not useful in pandemic like this time, but it wouldn't happen when we use online classroom. We can use online classroom whenever and wherever we want. So about the material, we can repeat again and again freely. That's all from me. Next to Dira.
Okay, thanks before Titin for your statement. Let me give my response about your statement, Titin. I'm so sorry, but I totally disagree with you because, in my opinion, traditional classroom is better than online classroom because that the fact there are so many students complain that online classroom is very ineffective. The reason is they don't really understand what the material is about that given by the teacher, because some teacher do not explain the material at all to the student because they just give an exercise to fill the students learning time and help the students understand the materials without the materials themselves without an explanation. So it is so difficult for the student, and it's not good to the student because it makes them being lazy because there are no explanation from the teacher. And the second statement, some students during during online classroom do not take learn seriously and makes they being lazy than doing traditional classroom, because some of them just follow the class to take an absent, and they really and they really then and to make the teacher thinks they really follow the classes, in the fact they don't really follow the classes. So in my opinion, traditional classroom is better than an online classroom, because the teacher will explain to the students about the material at all, and if the students don't understand, they can ask the teacher to repeat again to explain to them, and the students will be more understand and will be more diligent in learning during a traditional classroom. So that's all from me. Thank you. Next to Diva.
Okay, thank you, Ersya, for your statement. I will give my response about your statement. I'm sorry, Dira, I disagree with your statement, because the online classroom for this condition are more effective if this conditions or all condition uh, more negative effect we can get if this condition still, and for example there will be insecure in the positive coronavirus, and cause the difficult of the government to handle the pandemic, while the case of corona the case of coronavirus not easy to be limited. So for online class we at last we can help the government handling the corona. We are in this rate of work, and we don't have to evoke the when it when get bored with online. Next.
Okay, well, I will give my views about the assessment. I'm sorry, but I disagree with your opinions, because we can see the result of the online learning for currently ineffective for students or college students, because there are many obstacles and limitations of each individual. For example, is limitation about the network, limitation the quota, or some of them maybe not use the smartphone. Then I agree with Dira's statement that traditional classes are more effective than this online learning, because in this online learning the teacher cannot directly monitor the students, the seriousness student in the course, and with the school as usual. The teacher can see the student and the serious student in the class, and can give more material about about the this about my opinions. Thanks in advance.
Alright, thanks in advance to Miftahul Jannah, but I think I don't agree with your opinion. For now, I think online learning is very helpful. Indeed, it requires many things like internet, but for the current condition, I don't think we have any other choice but to learn online. Isn't learning online more practical if we don't understand what our lecturer explain, we can still search further through the internet. We can also study whenever and wherever. And for those who don't have internet, I think the government have already has a solution for that. For remote areas that don't have internet, they can still use TV and radio. And I think this online learning can help us. If a situation like this happen again, we already have a solution. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to second section. Whereas I'm as a group. So firstly, I would like to say I agree completely for traditional classroom is the best choice. The reason for this, when we join for traditional classroom, we can get some relative impacts for our personality directly. And in the traditional classroom, we are facing so many lessons and assignments, and we also having for friends. Of course, we meet different teachers every day, and it will help us to adapt with a new situation. And we know how to socialize with the others, and we can find the way to overcome all of the problems that we have. Finally, in a classroom, we have to know how we must behave, and we have changed to be an open-minded person, and we can know how we should to think to be. In the fact, some people are too lazy to school. However, that is what they really need actually. But in the traditional classroom, we can make our lives more directed. We do our lives according to a predetermined schedule. So there are also the teachers who can lead us to be a better one. That's all from me. Next to Febi Febrina.
Okay, thank you for Titin, but I don't agree with Titin's statement because, as you said, if you learn through traditional classroom, sometimes we are too lazy, right? Okay, here my opinion about your statement. Some of us are lazy to go to school. Maybe we are sleepy during the class because the way the teacher explained the material make us bored. Okay, if you learn through the online learning, we can face off the boring, like we listen to music, eat some snacks, and something that make you are not boring. Okay, also because the way the teacher explained the material or the teacher are regular, some students keeping the school. Certainly, through online learning, we can choose with whom we learn, of course, based on what we like. Also, not only the traditional classroom has benefits, online learning has benefits too. We don't have to really focus to the class when we have a class, and we can do some activities that we can forget the class. Like we can do activities like if you have other homework. Thank you. Next to Diva Nabilla.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm sorry, I disagree with your statement. I disagree with it. Have a positive impact on our personality. The person's personal because we face so many lessons and assess our field. We also get a bigger we have felt to because one can be in trend of provide solution. We to really focus to and but
sorry Febi, in that actually make it not easy to will just taking the classroom. It's not easy to understand, and we are in and it's snack or the class it can not like because situational is a situation must follow the rules and we must respect teacher by maintaining ethic and discipline. Next to Ersya.
Thank you. Thanks before Diva for your statement. But in my opinion, we have to be relaxed in learning so that we may not get stressed and bored during learning. As Febi said, sometimes in traditional classroom, students getting bored and often feel sleepy in the class because the material that the teacher explained is so bored and take seriously, so that they don't interesting in learning. And if students do that, so the material would be difficult to understand, and even they know nothing what the teachers explain them. But in online learning, we can get more relaxed, and if like we can enjoy more at all, and the students will understand about the material. And also online learning makes people learn to be independent in studying. For example, the teacher gives a material and exercises to the students. So if the students still do not understand about the material, they can ask the teacher, and also they can find another lesson from many sources to make them more understanding the material, like an ebook from the internet and YouTube as learning medias. And they would be more independent to study because of their curiosity. So they will search for the material themselves, and it can make them know a lot about the lesson and improve themselves in studying. So I think online classroom is better than traditional classroom. So that's all from me. Thank you. Next to Nabilla Mafazia. To Nabilla, times it's yours.
Thanks in advance to Dira, but I don't agree with you. In my opinion, the online classroom teacher, the online classroom teacher is very difficult to assess and to see our development, and to that online classroom has not been proved effective for the student. It's true that when studying online, we can get many search from the internet, but many children today are distracted from focusing on others. For example, they prefer to listen to the song, play games, and open the other application rather than learn and find researches for learning. During traditional classroom, learning becomes more active and also scheduled. So students are no longer lazy in doing the assignment or exercise given to them. And if the lesson is difficult, student can directly discuss it with the lecturer. Different from online learning. If you don't understand, then you have to look for other research. And I agree with Titin and Diva that in traditional classroom, we are motivated to learn because we learn with our friends. In online learning, we are forced to study alone, and it's difficult to communicate with friends and lecturers. So, in my opinions, traditional classroom are better than online classroom. Thank you. Next to Miftahul Jannah.
Thank you, Nabilla, about your statement. But sorry, I don't agree with your statement. I think that online learning is more effective and not difficult for us. And I agree with Dira's opinion that with online we can search many material from various books and have more knowledge. While in traditional class, while sometimes student will sleep in the class, and also in online learning, we don't need to be tired of coming to school or to campus, and can save more in class. And we only need to do what has been exactly before, and home, and can do other exercise. And we only need to provide our quota and our smartphone and for the networks. And we just need to stay at home with our smartphone. And I think it is just about my opinion. Thank you, before.
Okay, that's all for our debate today. Thank you for your attention all. Forgive us for our mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.